Welcome to the first episode of the Creative.Tech Community Chat series. In this episode, we are excited to feature an exclusive conversation between the Horizon of Khufu core team and Professor Huaqing Huang from Shanghai Jiao Tong University, a pioneer in China's location-based VR entertainment, connecting Paris, Shanghai, and Harvard. This dialogue brings together global innovators to explore the future of VR, LBE production, and how technology continues to redefine immersive storytelling. Now let's dive into the conversation.
Hello everyone. Good morning and good evening from Shanghai. I'm Nix, co-founder of Harvard XR and editor-in-chief of Creative.Tech. Welcome to the first episode of the Creative.Tech Chat series. So before diving into today's topic, let me introduce who we are, what we do, and what we envision. The Creative.Tech community is an open community at the intersection of AI, creative tech, and emerging mediums. You can think of it as the IMDb of AI multiplies creativity, multiplies technology for hackers and creators. And we are a decentralized community of hackers, designers, artists, software, AI, and XR, events, text, and more. We have both human and non-human stuff here. That's what we think the future will be. And we have the Creative.Tech catalog. It's a curated list of works, creators, tools, and topics, and how they are interconnected with each other. And we are exploring new ways of curating and organizing information from project-based to metadata-based. And we also have Creative.Tech Chat, which is why we are here today. It's a podcast series featuring informal conversations to share stories, workflows, and visions of the future. So in the future, we might add more, like club, college collections. And our official partners include Harvard XR and the MIT AI Film Hackathon. Every year, Harvard XR hosts the annual conferences. The Harvard XR Club was founded in 2022. It's a student-led community at Harvard dedicated to exploring extended realities, artificial intelligence, and immersive technology. Our mission is to create an interdisciplinary platform where students, researchers, and industry leaders can collaborate, innovate, and push the boundaries of the immersive tech. Each year we host the Harvard XR conference in April. It has grown to become the world's largest student-run XR conference. For the next year, we are recruiting new team members for the 2026 annual conference. We'd love for you to join us, whether your passion lies in marketing, operation, external relations, design, or events. We have a place for you. And we welcome all backgrounds, no matter if you are Harvard, MIT, or other schools or other cities, because we see it as a local event with global vision. If you are interested, please just scan the QR code or use the link to submit like a form with 1 or 2 minutes. That's it. And we're really excited to make the immersive adventure a reality. And we hope you join us as part of the Harvard XR journey. Let me move back to our chat. So for today's topic, it's called Immersive Expeditions, Redefining Location-Based VR Entertainment. We are shining a light on how industry and academia can co-create culturally and market-viable immersive experiences. And first up, we'll hear from Excurio, the team behind the Horizon of Khufu. We're very honored to invite their co-founder and CEO Fabian and Jules, the US Business Development Manager, to join us. Then we'll joined by Professor Huaqing from Shanghai Jiaotong University School of Design. And after that, we'll bring on Professor Peter from Harvard and Yitong Liu from PICO XR for a roundtable with moderator Zihao, followed by an open Q&A. Sounds good? Let's dive in. Please welcome our moderator Zihao to introduce Excurio.
All right, thank you so much, Nix. Hello, everyone. My name is Zihao Jiang. I'm the founder of Wonderlands Lab and also the conference lead of Harvard XR 2025. So now it's my great pleasure to welcome our first speakers from Excurio, Fabian Brady and Jules Rainbound. So as Nix mentioned, Excurio is the pioneering XR studio behind Horizon of Khufu, recognized worldwide as one of the most influential immersive archaeological VR experiences. This project not only combines academic rigor with commercial success, but also gets a global benchmark for location-based VR. So today, Fabian and Jules experience and also introduced their initiative to open the platform, shaping the location-based VR ecosystem while empowering a new generation of creators. So please join me in giving them a warm welcome. So welcome, Fabian and Jules. It's your time.
Thank you. Hello, thank you. Thank you, everyone, and for having us. So I'm going to tell you first a little bit about the background of the company. All right, let me know if it works. But I think you see Excurio. So I'm one of the co-founders. The company is actually 20 years old this year. We started as a studio specialized in VR and AR with an agency business model. That means that we were working for clients, mostly cultural institutions and brands, luxury brands, but we also developed experiences and tools for the industry, education, or a lot of different use cases, experiences. So there are a few examples of what we did over the years. So a lot of virtual reality, augmented reality, a lot of different immersive experiences, installations. One of these experience was a partnership also with Peter Manuelian, who is a guest on the event today, on a project called Giza 3D with the Dassault system. And so we also very early at working on free roaming VR. So you can see, for example, on the second range of pictures, a project called The Enemy that was shown at the MIT Museum, I think in 2017 or 2018, which was already a huge step in free roaming VR. So that means virtual reality headset and capability to move freely inside a large space with other people at the same time. So it was a very complicated installation, equipment-wise, but in any case, it gave us a lot of ideas. It gave us a lot of knowledge about what works, what doesn't work for the audience, and that led us to create a few years ago. We started to work on that in 2020. What we call the Immersive Expeditions. So the Immersive Expeditions, this is free roaming VR in a very specific way. So I have a video here. I'm not sure it will work flawlessly, but let's see. It depends on the connection speed. So immersive expeditions, they are, as you may have seen, so free roaming VR, 45-minute adventures where we, so location-based experiences, obviously, where we bring the audience to other places, other times, and those are experiences you can share, you can live with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It's really a social experience. And so we mix emotions through storytelling, sensations. So it's quite impressive, and also education. And so for that, we always work with experts. And so we do co-productions with cultural institutions, historians, archaeologists, scientists, depending, of course, of the theme of the immersive expedition. Outside of the experience itself, it looks like this. So you are in a big space, at least 5,000 square feet, with other people inside, and you move freely inside this space. And so all those people you can see are so yeah, sorry, it's a bit jittery, but they are all in different content, different titles. They are traveling through time and space and learning a lot of things. So I will come back a little later on the technology behind, but I'll let Jules go on with the next slide.
Thank you very much, Fabien. Fabien talked a little bit about Horizon of Khufu, which was the first immersive expedition that was released. But actually, Horizon of Khufu was just the beginning, and so much has unfolded since. And Excurio has managed somehow to make its formats mainstream in the entertainment industry. And for that matter, we think that from our perspective, there are three main reasons. So the first reason is about the content, that the content is king, and we have developed a catalog of immersive expeditions throughout the years. So when we talk about content, we're really serious about it. The content must be super qualitative. The budget behind them are more close to what we can see in the movie industry than one could have seen in the VR industry so far. And we've always been super cautious in finding like the right co-producers, such as like very famous institutions, scientific institutions, such as the Musée d'Orsay for the content about the Impressionists, such as the National Natural History Museum of France for Life Chronicles, which is the history of evolution of life. And of course, Professor Peter Manuelian for Horizon of Khufu, the organization in charge for the rebuild of Notre Dame, the cathedral burned in 2019. And there was an organization in France dedicated to the renovation, the restoration of this iconic cathedral. And as for our last IP, which is called The Last Stronghold, happening in the Middle Ages in the medieval Carcassonne, the biggest fortified city in Europe, we co-produced this content with the Centre des Monuments Nationaux, which could be a bit like, which could be seen as the French National Trust, to be quick. So, of course, this catalog is king. I mean, the content is king, is key, but it's super qualitative. It's always 45 minutes. But actually, if you don't have anywhere to showcase the content, it could have been the end of the story. And as you know, well, there were no like XR movie theaters waiting for us out there. So Excurio managed to create its own network of dedicated venues. So just so you know, we don't operate the venues. We are licensors, but we managed to find the right partners, the right operators, to open the venues, and it was quite an adventure because we had to create everything, because it's like kind of a new XR movie theater that had to expand over the world. So in the first year, in the first 2 years, there were just a dozen of partners, a dozen of venues around the world. Now we are like, it's like 25 plus venues, and by the end of the year, we'll be closer to 35. And as for the US, because we're with Harvard XR today, so we opened like last year a venue in November in New York City. Yesterday night, we launched another venue with our partner Studio Phi Studio in Chicago. So this is very new. And by the end of the year, there will be another venue in Austin and also in Minneapolis. And of course, in North America, there are also venues in Canada run by Phi Studio as well. So this has been like a great deal to create this network, and it's growing and growing. We have like conversations with different stakeholders in the US, in Canada, and everywhere in China, in Asia. We just launched a new venue. We are launching a new venue in South America with Sao Paulo. So we're very happy to be like on 4 continents so far, and we really we really have the goal to be like everywhere in every country, in every significant market. So I would say the third reason now that Excurio has managed to make its format mainstream over the world is about the audience per se. So maybe we can, yeah, perfect. The response from both the press and the public has been overwhelmingly positive over the years. So just a quick sample of some reviews here focused on the US market. You can see that it's just a sample, but Forbes said it was like a must-see. We are usually, we get ranked in the top 10 of the best things to do in New York City by Time Out. Fast Company made us the honor to grant us as the third most innovative XR company in 2025, but the first one in the entertainment industry. And I think the most significant award from the audience we can have is like the reviews of the visitors, and you can see that on Google reviews, the venue in New York is 4.9 out of 5, which is mind-boggling when it comes to LBE, and I know that people working in the industry would know that. So about the audience per se, we also we would say that we've been successful because we have kind of the greatest reach in the LBVR industry. You know, a lot of LBVR activities are about, you know, killing zombies, shooting zombies, and that's great. I love doing that personally, but you have to be like kind of a gamer, a tech-savvy gamer to really enjoy it. Whereas with our immersive expeditions, it's more about exploration, and you can do it with your family, with your friends. So we have kind of this great reach from very young adults, children with their parents, and also senior people over 60 or 65 years old. And most of them have never used a headset before, but it's very easy, it's very seamless. And actually, we don't communicate much about the VR side of our adventure. We really communicate on the content, on the expedition, and VR is the tool to get fully immersed. Yeah, Excurio managed to make it very successful, very mainstream. It's expanding, and now we're very happy that we have kind of the best use case for this kind of LBVR now with all of our venues over the world. And now we decided that it would be time for the LBVR industry that we could share our formats to other creators and to other studios over the world. So we'll let the mic to Fabien, who will explain what's the platform we want to share with creators is about.
Thank you, Jules. And yes, so we spoke about the content and the format and the network. The other very important piece, the core actually of the experiences, is the technology, the software behind that allows to create, distribute, and operate this kind of experience in a very efficient way. So we call it the Excurio platform, and it allows a few important things, important for the efficiency, the performance of every operation, and so the profitability of the operators and producers behind, but also for the comfort of the audience. So one of these big feature we work on with the Excurio platform is the throughput. So having as much as possible visitors in any space in a comfortable way. We have the world record of simultaneous visitors in free roaming VR, which is I think 138 visitors simultaneously. So it's due to a lot of functionalities inside the Excurio platform, but this is the result of those functionalities, the throughput. Another thing which is unique is the multi-content capability of the Excurio platform. That means that in the same space at the same time, it's possible to play multiple content. So imagine that you're in a space, VR space, and you are, for example, in Egypt, and other people are close to you. They are maybe on the 19th century Paris with the Impressionists. So this is quite unique, not only in VR, but in entertainment in general, because if you take a cinema, for example, a room is always playing one film at any time, of course, but in our case, it's different. So this is a patented technology we developed for that. And another thing is that we can adapt easily to any kind of space in terms of shape, in terms of size, in terms of shape. There can be obstacles inside, and so it's very easy to deploy any kind of content that has been created, adapted with the Excurio platform. So to sum it up, the Excurio platform is really a way to link the different stakeholders inside the ecosystem, from the producers to the operators, going through the distributors as well. So it's actually, the Excurio platform is actually a suite of different software dedicated to the creation, to the distribution, and operation. All the operation software of the Excurio platform are already in action for more than 3 years now, and licensed to our operating partners. On the creation side, the framework of the Excurio platform, we are the only one using it for more than 3 years, but we are opening it to other studios, other producers starting in October. So that means that other producers will be able to use our tools to make their content compatible with this technical standard, and that means benefit from all the features that are included inside the Excurio platform. Of course, the throughput, but there are a lot of other things like the avatar system, interaction system, navigation system. There are a lot of things that are implemented inside the Excurio platform, and from which producers can benefit. So yes, this was the Excurio platform in a nutshell. It's a big investment in research and development for us, and we are very excited to open it to other studios and producers very soon. Right, so that's us.
All right, thank you so much, Fabian. Of course, we're gonna talk more in depth later during the roundtable for some details, and also how your studio basically operate, design, and just move forward this kind of interdisciplinary project. But then we're gonna move to our next speaker today. So next, we are delighted to welcome Professor Huaqing Huang from Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Professor Huang is also the co-founder of DealNexus and the creator of some groundbreaking LBVR projects in Shanghai and Jingdezhen in China. As one of the earliest pioneers of location-based VR in China, he brings both creative vision and critical insight. So today, he's going to share his perspective on how LBVR projects can be defined and created, and more importantly, how they can deepen our understanding of cultural heritage sites and their social histories. He will also offer a unique look at the fast-evolving Chinese market for location-based VR. Please join me in welcoming Professor Huang. It's your time. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Zihao,
Yes,
for
we
your
can hear.
and thank you for Fabian and Jewel for your sharing. Myself, I'm a great fan of Excurio's works. I've seen all of your works in exhibition in China. And today I'm very happy to share here, to share some of our works. Also, as someone from academia, I'm happy to share some of my understanding of the LBVR approach. Some short introduction of myself. As an architectural historian in the university, since 2019, I began to use the game engine, especially UE5, as a platform for us to reconstruct some lost cities and heritage sites along the Silk Road. Since 2019, we have done more than 20 cities and heritage sites of them. And in 2023, we did this exhibition. Sorry.
Again, all the corresponding information.
Okay. Okay. We did. I was invited as a digital curator of the China Pavilion in the Venice Biennale Architecture. And in that exhibition, we used this cloud rendering technique for the visitors from all over the world to walk into the cities we reconstructed along the Maritime Silk Road. And since 2023, we started the company Dianexus also as a producer of and creator of LBVR projects, mainly inspired by Horizon of Khufu. So Dianexus now is a virtual world builder, we call it, specializing in the creation of digital contents on historical and cultural themes. And we aim to committed to building a parallel universe for outstanding historical and cultural heritage globally. So from the first part of my lecture today, I hope to share some of my observation of the LBVR markets in China. So since 2023, basically when the Horizon of Khufu came to the China market, there has been more than 200 LBVR projects in China in the market. And as you can see, some of the pictures below, and over 40% of them deals with cultural heritage themes. These are some of the popular heritage themes like the Qing Dynasty, Tang Dynasty in China, some archaeological sites like Sanxingdui, beautiful art sites like Dunhuang, and also topics like Silk Road. So why do they all deal with cultural heritage? Why cultural heritage means such a big deal to the LBVR projects? Maybe it's because everyone saw Horizon of Khufu, but maybe there are also other reasons inside of it. So at the beginning, we have to think about what is LBVR project. Sometimes, so some people call it virtual tourism. We can call it virtual movie, virtual theater, virtual museum, also virtual education, virtual game, virtual entertainment, etc. So LBVR can be one of them, and maybe it can be all of them, right? How can we define LBVR? I'm taking the case of Horizon of Khufu and also other heritage themes projects. There are three spheres that, to me, is most important to the project of LBVR. First, sense of immersiveness. As you can walk real into the space, the feeling of immersiveness is actually even stronger than the traditional VR experience. And the second thing, the sense of spectacle, as in tourism, right? As in tourism, as we did in the Horizon Khufu and other lots of projects, you actually feel the feeling of being present in a spectacle place. That is the main attraction of the traditional tourism, and also what Excurio call it, the immersive expedition. So the first two senses actually enhance each other. But what about the third one? The third one, we call it the sense of authenticity. As in the museum, I remember last time in the website of Excurio, you call it a cultural entertainment. So as a cultural entertainment, as we can see in the Horizon of Khufu, all the details have a very the reconstruction of all the details in the ancient Egypt was done in a very scientific way. We are glad to have Peter here as well. We can discuss. So actually, the latter two senses are actually contradicts with each other as creator. Sometimes you have to reach a balance between the sense of spectacle and the sense of authenticity. So how do we create LBVR projects? The first feeling is that now the creators actually come from all kinds of industry, including game, films, animation, architecture, advertising, museum, etc. So it brings a big challenge of this interprofessional cooperation. And second thing is, what are the main procedures? The main procedures of LBVR, for us, there are like three basic important procedures. The first, of course, research, to do scientific consulting, scientific reconstruction, photogrammetry, especially for the heritage sites. And second, to do the storytelling, to create a spatial script under the cooperation between director, between writers, between scientific advisors. The third procedure is to produce such a LBVR project requires the cooperation between all kinds of professions, including those 3D artists, experience designer, UI, UX designers, etc. Maybe I think Fabian can share more later. So, and now I'm going to share a little bit of our approach, the Nexus approach to heritage themes LBVR. So as a studio, mainly specialized in the reconstruction of architectural heritage, when we do LBVR projects, there are three basic steps, three most important things for us. The first is to have innovative scholarship. The innovative scholarship means that LBVR projects for us is not only a way of entertainment, but also a tool to convey ideas, to share ideas with the public. The second thing is scientific reconstruction. That is very important for us as a team coming from the academia, and all the projects that we deal with has a very high requirement for scientific reconstruction. For example, those projects dealing with some UNESCO heritage sites. And third, the integrated design, that is how to combine the collaboration between architecture, between archaeology, museology, game design, film creation, etc. And another important feature of our team is that the team is led by architects. Why? Because for us, this immersive exhibition it's basically the design of a virtual space, right? The design of a virtual experience that's basically very similar to the expertise of an architect. So this is our work. One of our first work, Shanghai 1924, premiered in Shanghai, Wukang Road in June last year. And within 2 years, it also attracted more than 10,000 visitors in Shanghai, became one of the earliest and one of the most successful projects created by a Chinese team. Now it's in a second round of exhibition. This is a short trailer of our work.
去，垒呀垒，你们就跟我回去。
我们这一批外国建筑师，也算是共享了大上海的辉煌啊。
时间过得真快呀，这座公寓都100岁了。开心的日子，痛苦的日子， 都经历过。
不知道100年后，你们会如何看待我的这些作品？他们又是否仍然是上海的一部分？
So I will briefly introduce our thinkings when we produce this work. Wukang Mansion is a heritage building located in the former French concession in Shanghai that is now in the very city center of Shanghai, built in 1924. So it's now one of the most popular tourist sites in China as well. In Shanghai, every day tens of thousands of people come to the building to take a shot of the iconic facade of the building. But ironically, no one, very, very few of them could go inside of the building, and even less of them actually know about the history of the building. So we feel such an obligation for us to bring people back to 1924 to see what the building was like and why it was built, how it was closely related to the society, to the culture, to the everyday life of that time. So when you put on this, by using the technology of LBVR, we were able to invite audience into not only into the interior apartment of the Wukang Mansion, but also into the everyday life of its residents. The reason of that is that why did we do this reconstruction? We thought 1920s of Shanghai as one of its golden ages. It's the time when the idea of modernity was brought into China in the 1920s. And actually, apartment was a symbol of the rise of modernity in China. So for us, this is more than a LBVR project. We treat it as a virtual urban drama on the rise of modernity in China. As you can see in this apartment, we actually reconstruct apartment according to the authentic style in the 1920s in Shanghai. You can see it can be anywhere at that time. It can be apartment in Paris, it can be apartment in New York, but that was the ideology, that was the idea that we tried to convey, because Wukang Mansion was this kind of space where a modern ideology of around the world was brought into China, was brought and experienced by the people in their everyday life. For example, in this salon, the actress that we supposed to live here, she held salons and invite friends to here to discuss about literature, discuss about poem, discuss about arts. And that's what we consider also the emergence of modern feminism in China. That's a place where the first group of modern women were able to live a private and independent life in China. That is how we compose Wukang Mansion as a reflection, as a mirror of the lifestyle in the modern Shanghai. So that's the general idea behind it. And after the idea, we did this scientific reconstruction based on 3 categories of the of Wukang Mansion, including architectural drawings, including historical photos, and also books and literatures of the lifestyle of that time. For example, in this reconstruction of one of our main scene, that is apartment building, that is an interior apartment inside the building. We use the photogrammetry of the existing heritage. We also use archival references to recover the interior layout that no longer exists. And what's most important is the interior lifestyle, the interior decorations, the furnitures, and even the products, the everyday products that modern women use in that area. So we borrowed actually from Wagner's idea of the Gesamtkunstwerk, translated as integrated art. We try to restore the apartment to its original, to the time of its prime. And not only that, we also reconstruct the city, the building in its original layout, urban layout, street landscapes, and architectural landmarks. And the third part is integrated design. How do we, the most important difference between LBVR with the traditional other entertainment like games and movies for me is the design of space, is how to hire space, the arrangement of space as a basic tour of narratives inside the virtual world. As in film, you have montage, but in LBVR, you have to use the arrangement of space to guide people through the story. So we invented this idea called spatial script, the arrangement of the virtual scenes according to storytelling. And of course, we designed the characters, design their personality that even people from now can feel related to. And in the end, that's the integrated design. In the exhibition, we also design an academic exhibition. After people see the LBVR project, people can see a real exhibition that shows all the historical background of each sentence of our script. Okay, and in the end, I give a very short introduction, maybe also advertisement of our ongoing project, an even grander project called Virtual Silk Road project that has been done for the past 7 or 8 years, as I have shown, as what I have shown, and our goal is to reconstruct the important cities and architectural heritage sites along the Silk Road. For example, we have done reconstruction of urban heritage along the Silk Road, the reconstruction of architectural heritage along the Silk Road. And we are using methods of architectural typology. For example, the typology of early Buddhist architecture, Buddhist art. How can we apply the typological studies in order to reconstruct this Buddhist site in different parts of Asia, from India to Central Asia and to the west part of China? And for example, we also did some more rigid reconstruction of a World Heritage Site. For example, our recent project in Jingdezhen VR exhibition for the bid for its UNESCO World Heritage status. Jingdezhen, as you might be familiar with, is the place where the most prominent, most best quality porcelain were produced in China for centuries. And around the world, more than 80 or 90% of high quality porcelain were imported from Jingdezhen. So in order to show the age of its prime, we reconstruct like the Jingdezhen in its prime in 300 years ago by using excavation reports, historical drawings, and existing heritage drawings, and also to show how Jingdezhen's porcelains were used abroad. We reconstruct this dome in the Santos Palace in Lisbon, in Portugal, by using the catalog of over 260 blue and white porcelain plates. And we were able to reconstruct that place, so let people in China to experience the prime of Jingdezhen's porcelain without going to Portugal. And in the end, we have this project in progress, also closely related to the Silk Road, that's called the Journey to the West. The Journey to the West depicts from the eye of Xuanzang, who is a famous monk in the 7th century in the Tang Dynasty of China. He actually went all the way from China to India to learn about the Buddhist canons at that age. So from his documentation, we have these clues to reconstruct these existing archaeological ruins along the Silk Road, including lots of important Buddhist sites in the west part of China and also central part of Central Asia. For example, the Subashi Temple in Xinjiang, the Pamir Mountains, and also other temples in the Gandhara area in Pakistan, Afghanistan, etc. Okay, so in the end, if you ask me what is LBVR for us, I think LBVR is a gateway to somewhere or sometime we cannot attain to reclaim wisdoms and lessons that today we cannot obtain. Thank you. That's our observation, and it's a great chance for us to discuss with Excurio and also our guests. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Huaqing. It's a very, very inspiring lecture and many different case studies, many different reflections during the practice about some different kind of like methodologies. And especially I was amazed by like your reflections on like 3 different senses of immersiveness, spectacle, and like authenticity, and like how each elements like can either balance or enhance one another. We can definitely talk more in our next session roundtable. Okay, cool. So yeah, basically that leads to our next session, which is our roundtable discussion. So for this session, we're featuring Professor Peter Manuelian from the Professor of the Egyptology at Harvard, and Yitong Liu, who's the content producer at PICO XR. So together, they will spark a rich conversation on either technical pipelines or market strategies, or most importantly, the broader value of interdisciplinary collaboration in expanding the horizons of immersive entertainment. Cool. So I see Peter's here. I see Yitong's here. Maybe you can unmute yourself, because this session, we are very encouraging everyone to directly ask questions for each other. But since I'm the moderator, I'm gonna do like a question first, and it's basically your time specifically. It's like Yitong and Peter, it's your opportunity to directly ask some questions and raise some kind of like thesis to Huaqing and to Fabian, to Jules. Okay, so my question out of my personal curiosity is, since Huaqing, you mentioned during your presentation, you mentioned for your studio, the project is architect-led, right? So basically, architect is like either the PM, or I don't know how to say this kind of like specific label or rule for this kind of new industry, but basically, architect basically leads the direction, since it's related to the cultural tourism, related to the architecture settings. So my question is for Fabian and for Jules. So for example, Horizon Khufu, who's the boss, or like who's the PM for this kind of project?
The boss of the project.
Maybe boss is not the right term, but
No.
like basically who's this role, as Huaqing mentioned, like the architect role in his project.
Yes. Yeah. So in the team at Excurio, we have Pierre, who's the creative director, and who manages the project in his creativity in partnership with Peter in this case, because Peter is really the expert for Horizon of Khufu. And so Pierre leads all of the creative side of the project, and we also have a team of project managers who really take care of the production itself of the experience. It's a whole thing, right? It's how to put forward the monument, the history, the characters, and behind that is how to tell this story effectively with the staging, mainly because with free roaming VR there is the specific way to tell a story, because as you know, we have to move physically in a virtual world, And we can do that by following characters, with the sound, with the light, with a lot of different things in the environment. And so there is a lot of work on the script, and a lot of work on, again, the staging environments to be able to tell the story effectively. At any point of the project, we need to evaluate all the reconstitutions. So is it thorough in terms of how it looks historically, how it sounds historically, how people were dressed, how they talked. Is this piece of furniture is historically relevant and true? So it's all the part that Peter took care of. Yeah, so it's a huge thing.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Nice to be with everyone. Hi, Fabian. Great to see you. Hi, Jules. These are great partners, and it's a collaborative balancing act. They come up with what they want to do and work out the story and then talk to me. And as Fabian said, we try to look at things like the costume. Is that appropriate for the pyramid age? In ancient Egypt, people looked differently in 2500 BCE than they looked in 800 BCE. So there are so many ways to make mistakes, from the furniture to the dress to the architecture of the area. On top of that, too, there's a need for a cultural sensitivity. So there are avatars or characters in this show, and some of them are modern Egyptians. So we also want to think about, are they appropriate? Will they offend anyone? Are they dressed properly? Will they represent Egypt in a correct way that's pleasing to all audiences? So we try to be sensitive to all these things. And as an academic, one is always worried about one's colleagues and, oh, that's from the wrong dynasty, we have to change that. But to be honest, it is a balancing act. And in many cases, no one will notice the difference. So sometimes it's a trade-off, just like a Hollywood movie is rarely 100% accurate on a scientific way. So these are all ways that we work together, and hopefully the final result is something that makes everybody happy.
Cool. Thank you, Peter. Yitong, do you have any questions, any, curiosity out of your personal experiences?
Yes, I actually have some questions I want to discuss with Fabian and Jules. I have seen the PowerPoint. You have mentioned that Excurio has a multi-content feature, because I have saw all of your projects in China, and I'm also your big fans. So I know that you can make multiple immersive expeditions in the one space. Actually, PICO, we also do the same feature, but we found out there are one challenge, because different kind of project, different kind of content, they have different experience space and different traffic flow. Do you think we put different projects in one space will decrease the experience and will affect the operational inferencing? So this is one question I want to discuss with you guys.
Yeah, that's a good question, because multi-content is a complicated thing to achieve, but it is really linked to how you guide the visitors inside the experience. So visitors are not, visitors are staying inside the experience. The immersion is not lost when they are close to other visitors that are in other content. And so it's a very specific way to navigate and to guide the visitors inside the space. And it's a lot of different functionalities that we developed to be able to do that. And we still have a lot of things to do that we are improving. We are always improving our solution to always be more efficient and comfortable for the audience. So yeah, managing the sound, managing the guidance of the visitors. It's a lot of work.
Agree. Yeah.
Fabian, have you done that in New York? When I was there, it was only Horizon of Khufu, but have you had a multi experience at the same time yet in the New York show?
Yes, in New York, there are now Horizon of Khufu, Life Chronicles, and Tonight with the Impressionists. So there are 3 titles at the same time in the same venue, yes, in the same
Wow,
space.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank
That's
you.
a lot of bandwidth, isn't it?
Yes.
Cool. Also, like to move forward, I do have a question related to the Excurio's plan in North America, because like as Huaqing mentioned during his presentation, so far in China, right now there's like huge number of LBVR projects going on and still going on. And nearly more than 40% of them are related to cultural tourism or like cultural heritage, this kind of specific topic. So I wonder for you guys, because you mentioned like you guys basically license your content to different operators in different cities in North America. Are they also like closely related to like a cultural heritage or cultural tourism, this kind of topic, or can be like broadened to more specific directions and or like maybe specific related to like what kind of studios you are collaborating with, because you mentioned you can also like have a platform launched this month, right, to basically empower those studios. So I wonder like for your next move in the North America, like for the content wise, what's your plan?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, Xiao. Actually, yeah, I mean the content, the approach at Excurio, the DNA of our productions and content is about culture and heritage and a way to explore it differently with families and friends and to make really an expedition out of it. And we were curious to see what would be, how the audience in the US and Canada would react to such a content. And actually, it was also a great success. But when we read the reviews and so on, we saw that there was like kind of a shift from what people think about the immersive expeditions in Europe compared to what they think about it in the US. Because in Europe, they are really very aware, actually, and they're still very focused on the fact that you're traveling through time and that you'll be able to know things about what happened in history and so on. And in the US, the comments we had were more about traveling, like going to another place, like going to Egypt. And actually, this is like a very interesting cultural difference that we have noticed between Europe and the US and Canada as well. But since we can see that there is this willingness and people are really willing to travel through this tool, through these experiences, and so on, and it's very successful. But that said, that is why also we are opening the platform, not only for the US and Canada, but for the world. Is at Excurio, we have like this network of venues, which is quite impressive now and growing. But we won't be able to produce like 10 titles a year or something like that. Even if we are like 100 people at the studio, which is quite huge for a VR studio, and even if we're 200 or whatever, we won't be able to produce like 10 titles or 15 or 20. And actually, our DNA is really about cultural heritage, is really about history, and we want to keep it because this is where we're good at. And we are used to talking to different scientific ecosystems now, and we are on the map for this very specific field. And we think it would be interesting to have like real professionals of mainstream franchises or other kind of storytelling that could be highlighted through this platform and through this free roaming format that we call the Immersive Expeditions. So we think like we're kind of releasing this platform from this perspective to let the creators create their own stories with their own DNA, their own editorial approach, so that the audience will have like a a broader choice of titles. And the idea is really to create like this kind of very strong network of XR movie theaters where people would be able to go with their family and friends. And if at the last minute they're like, well, actually, I'm more keen to see Egypt than Life Chronicles or whatever mainstream franchises that will come up at some point. This is actually the real goal. But to come back to the cultural DNA of Excurio, we can see that it's been like, and it's actually quite like very congratulating to think that people are very interested about history and culture, because so far we've gathered 3 million visitors, even more with like cultural topics. So we cannot even imagine what it could be like with like other kind of content.
Thank you. Also, like, I think like this is also like related to, because based on like Jules' answer, I think this is like also related to like Huaqing and Yitong, like your guys' practice. Because basically Jules just mentioned like in North America, basically different people, different places have different culture, right? So people in North America, they prefer to travel to different places. But for example, for Huaqing, like your company, your studio's practice, like the Wukong Mansion is actually like right next to the Wukong Mansion. It's for those people who are interested into Wukong Mansion but cannot, for example, go inside of that. And also like Yitong, I remember you also mentioned that this kind of like either relocation to travel to different places or like right next to it to enhance the visitor experiences out of this kind of specific location. So I wonder for this specific topic, I want to learn more about your guys' reflections and opinions based on your own practice.
Yes, thanks, Zihao. It's a really good question, and I also want to discuss with Huaqing, because I think the Chinese audience is really interesting. Yes, because I think the Chinese audience have their own likes. For example, for our Dunhuang project, we have made it last year, and Dunhuang is a city in the Silk Road, and it's in the northwest of China. And we want to make a story about Dunhuang. It's 1,000 years ago. At that time, the Tang Dynasty made a war with Tibet, and you want to help the Tang Dynasty. So we make a story about that and put this kind of project in the Dunhuang. So this kind of project is really strong, attached to a specific location, and it really works in Dunhuang. But after that, we put this kind of project in Shanghai. We put that in other cities in China. But some of our audience will tell me that Yitong, I have questions. Why I should watch Dunhuang in Shanghai or in Beijing? In Shanghai, we have the Wukong Mansion. Why don't we watch Wukong Mansion in Shanghai? We should rather than watch Dunhuang in Shanghai. So this is a really interesting question for me. So after the Dunhuang project, our team we do some theme that which setting the more adaptable. For example, we do some dinosaur project. We do some project about Leonardo da Vinci. So those kind of project can be can made for the audiences, no matter in Shanghai, no matter in London, no matter in France. So this is one of my questions we want to discuss. So should we do some kind of project which test to the specific location, or maybe you should do some projects such as it's for example the Horizon to Khufu. You can attract people all around the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Yitong as well. It's a very important question, also a very keen observation. Actually, I think the China market, the audience is very different to the audience described by Jules and Fabienne. I think like in China, like for the Wukong Mansion, we have exhibited in different parts of the city. Even inside the city, the best place is to exhibit it next to the Wukong Mansion, because in China, LBVR project has become like a byproduct of cultural tourism instead of a cultural destination by itself. That may be because of the target or the building. Like, of course, pyramid is a global icon. Everyone knows that, and everyone will be curious about that. But even for Horizon of Khufu, you know, in Shanghai, there has been two places for its exhibition. Before it was in a shopping mall, it was popular, but it was still within professionals. I think most of the audience, at least the first group of audience, they were professionals. But the time when it really become everyone knows it project was when it was exhibited in the Shanghai Museum, along with the Egypt exhibition. The exhibition, a big exhibition of Egyptian of Egyptian culture in Shanghai. So that's another proof that the Chinese audience is like they treat the LBVR project as a byproduct, like a enhancement of their experience in the tourism. And actually, I think that's a little bit different from the other markets, I think.
Can you tell me too, with the mansion, you showed this beautiful apartment and the reconstruction was lovely. Do you just have that one sample apartment, or have you done the whole building in all of the rooms inside? I ask because it's always a question of, do you just have one sample demonstration unit when you make these reconstructions, or do you try to create the whole thing? At Giza, we're also working on something called Harvard Camp, which was the excavation dig house of our archaeologists. And we've tried to use that as a teaching tool because all of the objects and statues, they all came to Harvard Camp for study and photography. And I have some photos and some drawings. And so parts of it are beautifully reconstructed, but in other parts we have to guess. So I'm wondering how complete is your building?
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. That's actually a question I was gonna ask you as well, because it's such a difficult thing that we have to cope with in LBVR project, especially for, like, I'm an architectural historian, you are archaeologist, and always we have this sword of authenticity lying above our head. We have to make sure everything we did should be reliable, right? Have to be authentic, at least in some extent. But in LBVR projects, it's different from anything before. Like, it's different from a drawing, it's different from a movie, because when people go inside the building, they see every detail of that space. Even you don't have any evidence of that space, we have to somehow do something to reconstruct it. And so that's the most critical dilemma for us as we create, if we treat LBVR project as this, like a byproduct of museum, as a byproduct of cultural tourism, we always have to cope with how do we reconstruct a building thoroughly, right, inside the building. But I think in the Wukong Mansion, we have we have no capability of reconstructing every part of that building. So we have to redesign the way people experience the building. They can go to certain parts of the building, but they don't go to all the parts of that building, as you have shown us in the Horizon of Khufu, right? I'm also curious, how did you manage to do that in the Horizon of Khufu? How did you cope with all the details in this reconstruction?
Well, that's the magic of Fabien and Pierre and working with that team. There are, of course, many great archaeological plans and drawings inside the Great Pyramid, so that's easy. We have theories about mummification and what the king looked like when he was becoming a mummy and getting bandages and things, so we had to recreate that. But we tried to base the furniture and the ceremony on tomb wall scenes and inscriptions and decorations as best we can. Fabien, I should let you talk about how it all came together.
Yeah, so there is all this reconstruction side where we have a lot of documentation from Jupiter, from a lot of data everywhere that we use to recreate everything. So from the characters to the environment. But we also have the possibility to go on site and do photogrammetry. And so for the current time of the pyramid, because in Horizon of Khufu, you see the pyramid as it is now, but also as it was 4,500 years ago. So it's easier for the pyramid as it is today, obviously, because we can have a very precise photogrammetry. So photogrammetry is using a lot of pictures to recreate a 3D model very precisely. So we were able to do that for the interior and the exterior of the pyramid. It's a different thing for all the reconstructions, of course, but so it's a we use different paths to recreate the Giza plateau as it is now and as it was before.
Yeah, Fabian, I have another question for you. Like I said last time, I went to the pyramid earlier this year, and after I have seen the Horizon of Khufu, I went to the pyramid and I climbed the corridors that you did in that in the LBVR project, and the space to me actually feel almost the same, and even the experience for me feels almost the same. So after having seen the LBVR projects, the real experience in the real world, I don't know how to describe that. It's we don't have any surprise, right? We don't have any surprise. So, but I even tell other friends that you don't have to climb the corridor. You just see the Horizon of Khufu. It's basically the same. You get the idea. You don't have to go there. And so I'm curious. I'm wondering what's your definition. What's your this scenario for the LBVR projects? What's its responsibility? What it can achieve as a virtual world in addition to our real world, in addition to the experience of our real world?
Yeah,
how do they enhance each other?
Yeah, exactly. So what we are trying to do, and I think what's great with the VR is that so you can do anything, but we're trying to create a context for the monuments, for the objects, for the characters that we meet inside the experience. A context that means that seeing those objects, pieces of art, monuments, buildings used in their primarily use case, really, and understanding them by living them. So this is how we make a virtual experience complementary with the real thing. We don't want to replace the real thing, definitely not. But for example, compared to the real visit of the pyramid of Khufu, in the pyramid you cannot have a guide, for example. So this is something we can bring. And when you go to the real pyramid, then you understand better where you are, why this corridor is here, how was built this chamber, these kind of things. This is what I think is very complementary. And then, of course, when you go back in time, you see the pyramid as it was when it was just finished, and all the Giza plateaus with the cemetery and everything as it was 4,500 years ago. Then you understand better those monuments, and it creates some kind of emotional link as well, because when you understand something better, it creates something, you understand it better, and then you take more time on site because you understand it. So this is what we are trying to do for every of our immersive expeditions. For example, for Life Chronicles, which is travel back in time to understand the evolution of life on Earth. We see different ecosystems in different eras, a lot of different species, plants and animals. Nobody saw those animals and plants for real. They're all fossils. But then it creates this emotional link with those fossils that are in museums behind glasses, right? And so when you saw those fossils, you remember those virtual animals, moving, how they looked, how they interacted, this kind of thing. So it's another way to be complementary with the reality.
Yeah, I think it's always the wrong strategy to say, come to this virtual model and you don't have to go to the original monument in the original country. And the host countries would not be very happy with you either.
Right. That's a compliment.
But right. You can always do things with these models that you can't do with the real monuments. For example, in my museum, we just reinstalled our Egyptian gallery and we have several coffins. And of course, the coffins are in display cases. You can't lift up the lid of the coffin to see the decoration inside. But on Sketchfab, we have a beautiful animation where the lid goes up and down and you can rotate around and you can look inside. I think one of the best places for Horizon of Khufu, and I hope this will happen, is 1 or 2 kilometers north of the pyramids is the Grand Egyptian Museum. And it will open in about 1 month on November 1st. And it has a giant window and you can look out the museum and see the pyramids. And so this is really the place to say, okay, the pyramids are over there. I understand that. Now I want to see Horizon of Khufu. And maybe I'm older or I'm in a wheelchair or it's too hot and I don't want to go inside the pyramid or the line is too long. I can do Horizon of Khufu and learn about it, as you were saying, in Shanghai, in this cultural proximity of both sides. So you get this wonderful complementary experience.
Yeah, I
I would
totally agree.
say,
Are you going to do that, Fabian?
You're muted, Fabian.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Yeah. You mean do that?
Yeah.
Being in the
plans to bring Horizon of Khufu to Egypt.
Well, yes, we'd love to do that. We're in discussions. So it would be awesome, of course. And it makes me think about another project, Eternal Notre Dame, which is both in France and China at the moment. But in Paris, it is right at the feet of the cathedral.
Yeah.
And again, it's very complementary because you see the cathedral as it was a few centuries ago, and you can access, the roof and a lot of places that you cannot go in real life either. Understanding how it was built, how it evolved through time, who were the main characters that in the history of the church. So it's definitely a good thing to start with Eternal Notre Dame and then go to the cathedral, or the inverse, or the opposite. But it's definitely complementary, and so that could be exactly the same case with the Horizon of Khufu in Egypt.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I know there's still a lot of topics which we didn't touch, but our time is limited. We still have chance. Now we're gonna move to our Q&A session. Yes. So first, we're gonna have a Q&A with our selected community members. They're also here in the Zoom. And since this Q&A session is gonna be 10 minutes, and if we still have time, we're gonna select some questions on our live streaming, because we're live streaming both on YouTube and also on Bilibili. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching us outside of this Zoom. But yeah, sure. So our first question is from Nix. Nix, do you want to ask your questions?
Yeah. Hi, Fabian and Juice. So you mentioned Excurio started an agency delivering client work. I was wondering what prompted the pivot to building and operating your own location-based experiences as a product. So what was the biggest challenge in the transition, and how did you overcome it? Thank you.
So there were a lot of questions. So first, because we had a lot of experience on how the technology works, and also what is good for the audience, what works, what doesn't work for them, and also for operations. Is it easy to operate? How can we achieve something better? So we had a lot of ideas. A big question was, is it going to work? I mean, is the concept going to work for the audience? Mainly, are they going to understand that they can walk by themselves to explore the environments, follow a virtual character? And that was a very big question. And it worked in the end very well. So we are happy, but we didn't know before. It was only a bet. Another big challenge when we do this pivot. So we already had a very skilled and experienced team, a lot of references, a lot of ideas, a lot of already developed technology, but we needed funds to be able to pivot to invest in our own content and in our own technology. So another challenge was doing our first fundraising in 2020. And we managed to do that thanks to our investors. But yeah, it was a new thing for us at the time.
Yeah, that's true. From a studio business model to a product business model, that's
Yes.
a huge transition. Yeah. Okay, and
Yeah.
we also have. Oh yeah, next, do you have any follow-up questions or comments?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Then we can move to our community members. So we are welcoming Will, Han, Maggie, and also Edmond. I'm not sure Edmond's here or not, but Will, do you wanna have your questions first? And maybe briefly introduce who you are? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. This is great. So I guess this is a question for everybody. Do you see like any new emerging technologies such as like digital twinning or like AI, Gaussian splatting, making leaps in your content for the future? And how would you like optimize all these new technology? I'm surprised that you can't even run something so immersive on, I'm guessing, like standalone headsets right now, right? So yeah, just really curious.
Okay, I can start. So yeah, there are a lot of technology that are coming that we can use. You can use already, and I'll start with the optimization, right? So yeah, we are limited by the performances of the headset. We have to find a lot of tricks and a lot of tricks, yes, to optimize and have the best result in a very limited hardware. In our case, it's not really possible yet to do streaming with that many people at the same time in the same space. So we have to rely only on the hardware of the headsets to run the content. But we might have solutions with the next Wi-Fi, the next 6, 7G networks. So we'll see, to be able to stream from very powerful computers. We actually started to do that with the backpacks at the very beginning, computer backpacks that every visitors were having to compute the pictures that were sent to the headset. AI, so we can use it in both the creation side and the operation side. So for creation, it's easier to imagine what we can do to help the creative team to be more efficient in terms of modelization, scripting. So it can help a lot more and more. And on the operation side, so it can also help in both the operation for the operators, meaning being able to manage the flow of visitors more thoroughly, these kind of things, and also for the experience itself for the visitors. For example, being able to adapt the scenario in real time, depending on the actions of the visitors, or being able to talk with the character, this kind of thing. So there are a lot of use cases with AI. You mentioned also Gaussian splatting on all those technologies. Are currently very heavy, very heavy for performances and memory. But it's getting algorithms are getting better and better, and also performances are getting better and better. So I'm sure we will use those technologies in the future as well.
Okay, maybe I can be the best. So I agree that those kind of technology will help us to making those kind of project. For example, in the recent year, we have the photogrammetry, we have the nerve, and now we have the 3D GIS help us to create some content. But for me, I face the same challenge as the Fabian, as the Excurio, that we want our audiences have a better experience. So we choose the all-in-one headset. So the all-in-one headset is it is not strong enough to do the powerful 3D GIS. So maybe in the future, maybe the next generation or the generation after the next generation, when the technology develop, maybe the all-in-one headset can make the 3D GIS possible. But for now, we need to make a decision whether we want to do the 3D GIS in a PC on your bag, or maybe you should use the traditional way to make the content. And for the AI, I think it will help us to making some storyboard and doing some scripting, but it still face some challenges when you want to do some historical content. For me, I have doing some project with about Dun Huang, about Leonardo da Vinci. But when I'm doing the concept art, it's really hard for you to use AI to make a content which is 100% accurate. So I think maybe the AI can help us to make content in some part, but in other part, maybe we should also use the traditional way. Maybe in the future we can use AI to do the other part, but it doesn't work in the current stage.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Will. Okay, since our time is up, are we still gonna continue? Next, are we still gonna continue or like stop here today, depending on like streaming situation right now? Because we do have like other questions ongoing, both like on the screen and also like from our Zoom. Okay, cool. Let's just say another 5 minutes. That's it, okay? Cool, sounds good. Okay, so Maggie, Han, you guys are in the Zoom. Are you guys gonna ask questions directly? And if not, we're gonna move to our questions on the screen. Okay, cool. Let's move on the screen. Okay, oh, Han left the questions on the screen. Yeah, hi everyone. We know content matters. I'm just curious how creators position audience roles, like being expedition team or team traveler, etc., in each project and test if it works to see if it is intriguing enough and maximize the immersion of the story. Yeah, so I think this question is more related to about the relationship between the creators and also the audience, specifically for the audience, like with the social setting with your friends coming together. Yeah, so Huaqing, do you wanna answer this question specifically, like your Wukong mention project, like when audience are coming together with their friends or family members, are they like always playing together as a social group, or is it more about like individual settings in terms of the tourism setting? Yeah.
Yes, sorry, what you asked was different, a different question than the one on the screen, right?
Yeah, maybe you can just directly ask the, like answer the question on the screen. I was trying to interpret. Yeah.
I think how to position audience roles is like what I said, some kind of, from our perspective, that's the role of what architects do. Since architects, when you design a space, you always think of that space virtually and you imagine how people will experience that space. That is people, users of a building, and now it's the audience in the LBVR projects. So I think that's one of the most important thing that a creator of the creators of LBVR projects should have. Of course, you have other ways to prove that. Like you do experiments and you invite people to experience the works in progress, etc. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, and I think
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Yitong, you can go first. No
okay. So because I think it's depend on the different kind of project, and I think the most LB project in China and in the world, it look like a documentary. So people are the visitors of this kind of project. So if we setting audiences as a visitor or time traveler, they will believe their own role. For some kind of project, they are the fictional project. So they will give audiences some role. For example, I have watched the Excurio's recent project called The Last Stronghold, and you will act as a lord and to visit this kind of castle. So we can use some interactions and also maybe some storytelling ways to help you to believe you are this kind of roles. So I think it's depend on different kind of project.
The metaphor that I think of when I think of these questions is sort of contained in this. These are the Insta360 cameras, and I use them at Giza, and they film in 360 degrees. So you can either post this on Bilibili or YouTube, where the audience can look anywhere they want to go, but they have no guidance. And the opposite is to reframe your video and look in one direction and say, now we're going to talk about this over here. And this is what Fabian has done so beautifully, because everyone is free to wander in Horizon of Khufu, but there's still a linear story. There's a guide, she disappears, you go back to ancient Egypt. So you have a wonderful combination of freedom and guidance at the same time. And this is what we always think about. How do we reach this balance? I think there's a role for both.
All right, thank you, Peter. Okay, we do have a lot of remaining questions, but our time is up. Cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, do you wanna like with some note at the end of our first session?
Yeah, so all right, that's a wrap for the episode 1, and I would like to say huge thanks to everyone, Fabian, Jules, Huaqing, Peter, Yitong, and of course our moderator Zihao, and team member Wenxin, Sharon, and Jiaying. Before we sign off, just a few things. You can watch the replay here a few days later in the same link, the same event link. And we would like to invite you to join the community by scanning the QR code. We have Discord, WeChat, and Red Note groups. On behalf of the Creative.Tech Community and Harvard XR Conference, I'm Nix, and thanks for spending your time with us. See you next time.